What's up, brand builders? Okay, today's topic is going to be a little maybe considered sensitive, and perhaps a few people might be offended. But it's a very important topic in the sense that it's the elephant in the room. Now, just to give you a little bit of a background on where I come from when I'm talking about this, and I'm really passionate about this topic. It's about how we turned our agency around. And there are different, of course, different parts to this story. So, as you know, I'm a co-founder in a branding agency. I'm a chief brand strategist and creative director in that agency. Of course, it's one of the different businesses that I'm a co-founder in. And with that agency, a few years back, what happened was that a combination of forces came together to really push us to the edge of the precipice of almost annihilation. Oh, yeah. And one of those that I realized was our customers, right? Yeah. So, yes, every business needs customers, but the customers, clients, can also be the cause for issues, for the downfall of a business. But anyway, in our case, we actually ended up going from so it was a bell curve, right? So we were doing really well for a number of years. In fact, we opened offices, studios around the world, and we were doing really, really well. Our revenue is awesome and all that. And then a combination of factors led to that decline. So from zero, almost zero, back to $1 million, we were able to do that through a combination of things. Of course, brand strategy, brand story being a major part of that. But another important thing was that we fired a large portion of our customers. Yeah. So we fired about almost 80% of our customer base and just started focusing on the 20%. And that led to tremendous kind of improvements in our business, in our revenue, in all that. So let me explain what that really means and why you should also be firing your customers. Now, if you look at any business, well, most businesses, you will find that, and I've talked about this in a couple of videos, and I wanted to take the time to really explore this topic in depth. Now, if you look at a lot of businesses, 80% of their customer service issues, their headaches, their issues arise from 20% of their customers. Now, of course, this is the Pareto Principle, right? So it's not precisely 80%, 20% for every business out there. You know, some of them could be 50-50, some of them 60-40, 70-30, whatever it is. But typically, you will find that a larger portion of the customers lead to the kind of problems that you have. And in fact, the revenue is usually generated by a small percentage of the population, at least the effective revenue. So customers, yes, everybody business needs the customers, but the fact of the matter is that if you want to build a really robust brand, and by the way, this is for small to medium businesses, and I'm not talking about big businesses out there, right? The massive businesses, because for them, the relative value of each customer is low in the sense that they're looking at the lifetime value, but each customer brings in a relatively low amount. They're working on numbers, right? So those businesses make a lot of money based on numbers. So therefore, for them, they don't want to fire their customers. They want to bring in more customers. And in fact, that is one of the things that I will also sort of advocate to you, is that the bigger businesses, they don't qualify their customers, right? They want everyone to be a customer. And this could be, for example, I don't know, automotives, cell phones, digital cameras, lots and lots of other products where these, or even social media like Facebook, for example. And all these businesses, they don't want to fire their customers. They just want to bring in as many customers as possible. But I'm talking about small to medium businesses. Small to medium businesses where, it's a small team. Maybe it's just you, two people, maybe three, maybe it's 10. But for small to medium businesses, we need to be really careful in terms of the kind of customers we work with. Why? Because first of all, when you have bad customers, now let's define what bad customers are. Now, bad customers are customers that give you more grief than they're worth. Yep, that's as simple as it gets, right? They give you more grief than they're worth. So they bring in an X amount of dollars, pounds, whatever, into the business, but they take a lot more. And this is because every business needs to think of itself as an organism, right? As a living thing. A business is a living thing. It's a living kind of entity. And bad customers tend to end up being almost like drawing the energy out of that business, almost like an illness, almost like a disease. Yes. Like I said, I might get a little bit of flack for this because I'm talking about customers and I'm saying, that disease. But if you think carefully of what I'm saying, you will see what I'm trying to communicate here. Now, for example, we are bad customers ourselves. I personally have been a bad customer to a business out there, right? And this could be, I don't know, when I'm unhappy with a little bit of a service, and I call up that business, and I might demand my money back. I might be unreasonable, and there have been times when I was unreasonable, probably because I was so angry at that business, and that anger was misguided. So everybody can be a bad customer to some other business, but we're looking at our business and our customers. And so I want you to sort of have that frame of reference, that mindset when you're thinking about it. And so when a customer is becoming problematic, now the other caveat is that if your service is bad, if your goods are bad, if your products are bad, then an angry customer is not a bad customer, right? They have legitimate reason to be angry. I'm talking about customers who create grief just for the sake of it. Even if you're doing your best, even if you're providing the best service within the scope of what you charged, what you promised. So it goes back to expectations. And that's one thing that you need to be aware of. You need to manage your expectations. And part of firing your customers is also managing customer expectations. So if you think about firing customers, there are two paths. The first path is qualification, right? When you're taking on customers, when you're getting sales, always think about qualifying your customers. Don't just be tempted to take on every customer that knocks on your door, right? And this is the problem when you have sales process that is not based on strategy. Because the objective of sales is to just get customers and just to sort of get revenue in. But if you establish certain guidelines at the sales process and you make sure that before your customer signs on the dotted line or they hand over their cash, you need to make sure they understand what they're going to get, what they will not be getting, what to expect, what not to expect. You need to set that in stone, and you need to get confirmation, not just yes, terms and conditions, so they select the checkbox just before they place the order, or they send you money. No, that won't cut it. You need to have a conversation, a verbal conversation, or face-to-face if possible over Zoom, or even at least an email to say, this is what you're getting. This will not include the following items. This is how we're going to communicate with you. And this is just examples, right? We may not be available at 24/7, sitting by the phone if you decide to call us on a Saturday night. Or, these are our channels of communication. We don't communicate by phone, or we don't communicate by Zoom, or we only communicate by email, or maybe we do communicate by phone, but these are the hours that we will communicate. And the reason I'm talking so much about communication is that, again, within that 80% of that 80% of problem clients is because of communication, right? It starts from communication. They're angry because maybe they were expecting that you would be, that maybe they're your only client, and you're on their beck and call, and you're just sitting there holding the phone, waiting there for their call. And when they do call, you don't pick up that phone. And this could be, I don't know, after hours or even during office hours, right? You're a small business. Let them know you're a small business. Don't try and make it look like you're a big business with a help desk. You've got, 20 people handling phones. Don't, because when you do that, it actually backfires. It maybe used to work like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe it used to work. It does not work anymore. Going forward, don't do that. If you're a small business, let your customers know that you're a small business, because it's okay. If they want to go for a big business, let them go for a big business. If you're afraid that your customers will walk away because you are a small business, then you know what? Let them walk away, because they're expecting the kind of infrastructure that a big business can provide, which you cannot. Just as long as you're focused on your product or your service, and you're providing the best service you can, don't worry about customers who are going to walk away because they think you're a small business. So let them know. The communication is very important. What about the service expectation itself? Make it crystal clear what they can expect from you. If you're, for example, I don't know, a copywriter, right? And you're charging, and they come to you, they want you to write some copy for their website, right? The customers. And it's 5 pages included, and you're like, yeah, it'll be 250 words, 500 words a page, whatever it is. Be very, very careful what that is going to be. Just make sure what kind of research is going to be involved. Are they going to expect you to write a white paper? Or is it just marketing copy? What kind of marketing copy, right? They might be expecting you to write sales copy that will start getting them revenue, that's going to start getting them sales right off the bat. Explain to them that what you write is what you're promising is how it's going to be tied to your sales, right? Are they expecting that this is going? If it's a sales copy and you're promising sales copy, then okay. Then of course, you're going to charge for that, but it's all about expectations. And of course, during the sales process, when you're trying to get that customer, if you're desperate, if you're too eager to get that customer, you might say, they might be saying, well, I want sales copy that's going to bring in. You're like, oh yeah, don't worry. You know what? I'm going to write for you kick-ass copy, and it's going to help your sales. Yes, and you might make it sound like that is going to be it, that's going to solve their problem. Be very careful. Expectations, qualification, right? So when you're qualifying, first of all, sit down and have a set of guidelines of who you will work with, who you won't work with. It's okay. It's okay to be prejudiced, so to speak, against certain sectors because, they don't align with your brand strategy. And if you don't have your brand strategy, then, God help you, because you need to start with that. You need to start with, brand strategy. You need to have a positioning, an internal positioning. You need to be very careful about how you structure everything. So, okay, I'm rambling a little bit here, right? That is about qualifying customers. Step 1, qualify your customers. Don't work with everyone who walks through your door. Step 2, fire your customers or bad customers. Okay, so make a list. And what I've noticed is that when you have some bad customers, what they end up doing is drain 80% of your energy, of your company's energy, of your team's energy, and morales, right? People, if they're dealing with difficult customers, your teams, you or yourself, you will start losing that kind of passion for your business. You're going to be dreading that phone call. You're going to be dreading that email. And of course, I'm not talking about emails and phone calls that come because your product sucks or your service is so bad. Okay. If that is the case, then you know what? You shouldn't even be listening to this video, because you should be focusing on improving your service and product. Okay. So that's a separate thing. Go away and do that if you have any doubts about your product or service. If you don't care and you're just out there to push your product or service, make some money, then you're not someone I want to talk to, right? I'm not addressing you. You can go away. I'm not trying to be rude here, but if you're trying to build a business and I'm trying to talk to people who are serious about building a brand, a robust brand. Yeah, I know I'm rambling. It's a 16-minute mark. I'll try and sort of bring things back. I'm being very scattered with this topic because it's a big topic, and I'm like I said, I'm very passionate about this topic. Anyway, so assuming your product is good, assuming your service is good, assuming your brand is coming from a position of authenticity, right? Assuming that, then look at which customers or which segment of customers or which product. Sometimes, you might have different services. You might have, let's say, I don't know, let's say you're a travel agency and you have certain walking tours, you have some boat tours, and then you have, I don't know, itinerary preparation. Now, let's say your walking tour are bringing in about 30% of the revenue. Your boat tours are bringing in 40% of the revenue. So that's 70. And then 30% is itineraries. But if you look at your customer problems, issues ratio, maybe your walking tours are bringing in the biggest headache. Maybe the problems that arise from the walking tours are taking up a lot of energy. Maybe you need to step in. Your agent, your rep goes around, but then there's problems. You need to step in. Maybe sometimes legal is involved. Maybe there's lots of refunds and so on and so forth. Analyze that, and if required, cut it out. Right? That's another big mistake a lot of businesses make. They try to provide all services within. Go niche. Niche is the way. Like beachhead strategy. I've done videos on that. Or just drop a comment below and ask me, clarification for this. Or maybe I might do yet another video on how to focus on niche. But if you're trying to do a lot of services, and I'll give you a great example. So again, the branding agency, we used to provide animation services, right? So creating explainer videos and animation, things like that. And yes, there is some good money involved in that because animation is a difficult thing, but it's very effective. For some businesses, it might really help out a lot. But the fact of the matter was that service was causing us so many problems because of expectations. Even though we were very, very careful about setting expectations, there was a small kind of process step that we could not help, because when you ask clients to say, okay, what inspires you? Well, have you seen something online that inspires you so that we can see what you have in mind? They will send you a bunch of videos. And even though you say, well, okay, you sent us this video of this animation, but please note you like it, but please note this was done by Nike or Apple or whatever. And they probably put in $1 million to make this, right? And they're working with agencies that are charging hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. We will try, okay, you like certain aspects of it. Maybe you like the elegance of it. Maybe you like the way it was. But please note, for the budget, for the budget that you're having or you're paying us, we will try to do something similar, but it's not gonna be that, right? Now, even when we said that, they would nod their heads and say, oh yeah, we understand, we understand. And then when we put in all the work, we show it, they're like, it doesn't look like the Nike advert. Duh, right? So anyway, to cut the long story short, we were having so many problems, we cut that service out. Even though it was making good money, we cut it out. We don't do that anymore. And for clients who come to us now and want that service, we do try and work with partners who specialize in that niche. And, and we also let our clients know that we're doing this as a value-added service. Just to help you, we don't make any money from there. We're not in a partnership and so on and so forth. But anyway, so cut out those services that are leading, or products lines that are leading to your bigger problems. Cut out and fire customers that are giving you grief. Okay, just give their money back and say, I'm sorry, but I don't think we are the company for you. I don't think we're the right service for you. There are plenty out there that will, match your expectations. I'm so sorry that we could not match your expectations. Here is your money. You know what? It becomes an ego thing. A lot of business owners don't want to give the money back. Yes, sometimes you could have maybe put in time and effort, and you did. That's fine. And yes, you need to have terms and conditions, and your deposits, you never give back. If you've done some work, I mean to say, not like you've taken a deposit and then you have not begun any work. And then, 2 days down the line, the client wants their money back, give that back. That's different. I'm talking about a deposit to cover the initial work. Maybe you've done some research. You've been on calls with the clients. You've already offered some advice, or it's a service. If it's a travel agent, for example, you've already done some bookings and things like that, or provided an itinerary, or refund policies, refund process is a separate thing. I'm not talking about that. But to let go of a bad client, be ready to give their money back and say bye-bye. Okay. All right. So we're over the 20 minute mark. So let me just summarize this. The whole point of this video is to say, do not take on bad clients. And if you did, fire them. Your life will be better. Your revenue will be better, because your energies will then be focused on the 20% of those clients that are the good clients. They are the ones who will allow you or enable you to be a better company. And they're the ones who will, spread the word about you, say nice things about you, leave kind testimonials. They're not, because the bad ones, however hard you try, would leave these bad testimonials out there. Now, I'm not coming from a point of bitterness, right? I'm not bitter about customers. Don't get me wrong. You got to be emotionless in this. You got to be clinical. You got to think like a strategist. You got to look at it as a business, as they say. It's not personal. It's business, right? We have some customers that we love. We've been working with them for years, and then there have been customers that I made the call to fire. I don't hate them. It's not about hate. It's not about love or hate when you fire a customer, right? It's about a business decision. And you need to learn to exercise that muscle of deciding who you want to work with. Because look, customers, yes, customer is the king. And we, as a business owner, businesses need customers, yes, but the customers also need businesses. And you got to look at it. You got to value yourself, your business, your service, your product. You got to value it, right? Just because you're providing a service doesn't mean that, you need to work with anyone and everyone. Okay. All right. Enough of rambling for today. I hope you found this topic entertaining at least, but think through it, right? Think through it. And just one caveat, just because I said fire your customers, I'm not telling you to go right now. Once you're done with this video, you start sending out emails to your customers to say, hey, no, analyze it, right? Because every situation is unique. Your business is unique, and your circumstances are unique. Your customers are unique. So analyze. If the customer is, you think the customer is bad, either because they're angry or they're being unreasonable, if that is because of your product or service, then forget what I talked about today, right? So analyze your product and service. Whenever you have an issue with a customer, look back and see what is the issue with my product or service. If it is, then do whatever it takes to make that client happy. Fix your product, fix your service, right? Fix your process, fix your communication. But if it is because of unreasonable expectations, and even after you have set up these kind of expectations, and if the client is being unreasonable, just fire them. All right? Okay. So leave comments below if you have any questions about this. I want you to really get into the habit of becoming a strategic thinker for your business, because you have to awaken your business. If you haven't already subscribed this channel, please go ahead and do that, because I'll be talking about more topics like this. Of course, I'll be talking about brand strategy and things like that, but also other peripheral things that make a business successful. And leave a like, hit the bell icon so that when my next video comes out, you'll get notified. And for the rest of the week, have a great week. Always be building your brand, always be building your brand story. All right, take care.